Hi everyone, welcome. Sorry for the little delay. We had some tech issues. Welcome. Thank you for joining.
Hey everybody, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Don't be shy. Feel free to say hi in the chat. Tell us where you're joining from. How's your day going so far? If you have any Christmas plans going on. So my name is Celine from the Panash team. I'm here with Clément, Axel, and Brian. I'm joining from the sunny city of Montpellier. Okay, just bragging. But I know you'll beat me to that game, Brian, because Brian
Yeah,
is
I'm
based in Alicante, Spain.
from this sunnier city of Alicante.
That's not a competition, Brian.
Hey.
Okay, super happy to be here today. Come on, folks. I want to know where everyone is based. So feel free to use the chat to post some comments with us, and we'll give people a couple of minutes to join.
Yeah, if you're already on holiday vacation and taking time out to join us, much appreciated. But maybe you're traveling somewhere really cool in the world at the moment. Let us know in the comments.
I'm imagining everyone has grabbed a sandwich or lunch to have this break with us in front of the screen. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate. Okay, it's already 20 past, so maybe we shall start. Should we?
Yeah, let's go
Let's
into
go.
it.
Okay, let's do this. So thank you for joining this new program reveal. We all thrilled. We worked hard to create this program and finally presenting it to you guys. So this session is really for you to engage with us. Feel free to ask questions. We'll have a Q&A section at the end. We'll give you an overview and a walkthrough of the new program, which we're really excited about. We've been working a couple of months on that. To start with, let's do quick intros. So I'm Celine Yao. I'm in charge of building and leading new programs at Panache. And prior to that, my background is mostly in user research. I led research in digital teams, including 4 years at HSBC in Hong Kong lately. And before that, I spent time in UX design consultancy in France. I also started my career in advertising and branding, which I still call my Mad Men years. Clément, you want to intro yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. So my name is Clément Perrin. I'm a co-founder at Panache. I have about a 10 years experience in entrepreneurship and different ventures, and I've also been working as a UX designer for quite a while. And I will be today moderating the comment sections. So at the end of the webinar, we'll take about 10 to 15 minutes to answer your questions. So feel free to drop them as they come during the presentation.
Great. Then a few words about us, Panache. For those who know us, we upskill product teams. That's what we do with training and coaching programs. And here you can see some of our dearest clients. We like to see ourselves as a home for personal and professional growth for product folks. We like to create a nurturing and I think also fun environments where people come to learn with us, but also learn from each other in the Panache community. Apart from our iconic product discovery program, which we'll dive into today, we are also developing a couple of new interesting programs. So I'll go through that quickly, and if you're interested, feel free to come and ask. So we have an upcoming program on pricing and monetization, where we tackle the different levels to define and optimize a monetization model for your product, especially for B2B SaaS models. We have another program upcoming on product marketing for PMs, where we look into the foundations of positioning, storytelling, and distributing your product when you don't have a dedicated product marketing team or interested to grow that capability. And we also have a performance and progression program for any team leader or manager. We developed this program with Sébastien Levaillant, VP Product at Payfit. He's sharing 15 years of experience in building, scaling, and motivating teams, which is a crucial topic, we know, with all the frameworks you need from competency grids, career paths, evaluation rituals. So if any of these programs interest you, feel free to reach out. And now I'll hand it over to Brian to intro himself.
Hey everybody, really cool to see. So we have people from Paris. We've got Noah in Orlando, home of Disney World. We've got
Woo!
Italy, like people from all over the world right now. So I'm Brian, really excited to be here with all of you. And I'll give you a little bit of a background about myself before we kind of get into the specifics about this product discovery program that we've developed. So currently I'm working at StreamYard, and StreamYard is a studio basically for creating live streams and broadcasts, as well as recording podcasts to connect creators with their audiences. You may not know this, but everyone who's watching this right now is actually watching us on StreamYard. And so if you have feedback about your experience, send it to me. I'm always open to feedback. StreamYard is part of Hopin, which is an umbrella organization with multiple products focused on connecting communities effectively at scale. In the past, I've worked at Bumble, Etsy, Meetup, and other places, and had the privilege to lead research in both B2C and B2B environments. And the good fortune to have had a number of opportunities to implement and scale discovery as a practice in startups, hypergrowth scale-ups, and mature public companies. And so basically we'll be able to draw on those experiences and the differences between how you do discovery in one environment versus another throughout the content that we'll get into a little bit more later. And then I've been involved in education, training, teaching for many years. Was an entrepreneur who actually co-founded an experiential education company back in the day, and have been involved in teaching for a long time. And so it was kind of a no-brainer when I was connected with the folks at Panash, originally talking about actually just doing a workshop based on some discovery workshops I had developed. We got in touch with each other, started talking about discovery, realized how passionate we all were about discovery and how impactful and important it can be for teams and organizations. And we sort of grew from there, and to the point where now I'm functioning as a program partner here to help shape and develop the fourth iteration now of this program. So leveraging the insights of 3 other cohorts that have already run to basically put together a really actionable and useful set of tools that you can take from discovery. And so enough about me. If we go to the next slide, I guess, why are we all here? Like, besides being invited to this event by someone, I always like to think kind of like, why are we here doing what we do? Why do we get up in the morning? Like, why are we product people? And I think Marty Kagan actually puts it best when he says, we're here to create products customers love. It's a really simple statement, but when you kind of unpack what's behind it, what it means, it becomes quite complicated. And if we go to the next slide, you can see that that's actually really hard, right? Making products that customers love isn't easy. It means so many different things have to come together to be able to do it. You have to understand who your current and prospective customers are. You have to understand what they need, the problems that they solve, the opportunities that we have to solve those problems. And then you have to actually develop solutions that they not only need, but fall in love with. And having worked in a company that is effectively a dating app, I can tell you that having people fall in love with things is easier said than done, right? And if we go to the next slide, one of the things we kind of think about, what do we need to do all of those different things, to figure out what the customers actually need, to be able to understand how to solve those problems in a way that aligns to the business and not only drives user value, but business value. Product discovery is an amazingly useful set of tools and process that we can utilize to actually do that, to figure out the things that we can build that people will love. But as we sort of saw before, if we go to the next slide, product discovery is also difficult, right? It's hard to know where to start. Like, where does discovery begin? It's also tricky because it's different depending on what team you're in, the political context, the stage of maturity of your organization. And so in my experience, there's many different places that discovery can start. And it's important to be flexible in where we sort of begin, right? There's not a one size fits all approach. And there is oftentimes a difference between what we can read in a book and a theory and what we all are living on a day-to-day basis, right? We could be in a more of a delivery culture, feature factory context. We could be in a more of an empowered organization that's upskilling. Discovery is different for different people and different places at different times. But it's always difficult to find time and space to do discovery, right? That is one of the core challenges that we all face in implementing product discovery. is where do we fit this in alongside all of the other things that we're doing? How do we get buy-in and alignment to do this? And then really critically, how do we connect it to delivery, right? So when we sort of think about how we create products that customers love, figuring out what people need is one thing, but we also need to be connecting the discovery work to delivery. If it doesn't get built and it doesn't get shipped, you aren't actually driving the impact that's going to deliver value to customers, and it's going to drive the business outcomes that our organizations are looking for. And so these are sort of three key challenges that we've taken in mind in developing our program. And so what I'm going to do is hand it back over to Celine to give you a walkthrough of the curriculum and schedule and what we've sort of done to help give everybody tools and processes that you can utilize to do these things in your own organization.
Thanks, Brian. And yes, these challenges comes from our learnings running the past cohorts. I'm also curious to hear from the audience. Feel free to share in the chat if you also relate to these challenges, or what are the common blockers that you yourselves face with discovery in your context. But yeah, the new curriculum that we developed with Brian hopefully reflects this new reality that we're in. So there are two new modules in particular that reflect that new direction, which are the modules 1 and 4. So the module 1, exactly like Brian said, we want to equip learners with the competencies, but also the flexibility to start initiating or doing some kind of discovery at your level, in your context, whatever your org looks like, and depending on your level of maturity as well. So there's no like set in stone, rigid way to conduct discovery. That's of course something that we observed on a daily basis in all types of companies and all our clients. So this first module called Planning Discovery is all about that. It's all about how to begin to implement discovery within your org context, whether you're operating in still a feature factory model, and that's okay, you can start somewhere, or more like a empowered outcome-led model, okay? So you learn to size your discovery efforts according to your priorities, your resources available, and the risks you want to tackle. So that's something that was really demanded, really often requested by your learners and community, is before even grasping the techniques and tools of discovery, help us implement and ground it into our real company context. So that's module 1. And then once we clear on what type and size of discovery we want to run, module 2 is all about providing clarity and alignment on what we here for, what key questions, what gray areas are we here to clarify. So it all starts with outcomes, and in this module we'll cover how to efficiently frame a discovery work with outcomes in order to drive concrete results. So we'll look at target business and product outcomes, target audience as well, to reviewing existing work with stakeholders and experts in order to define a clear discovery objective. So that's a mandatory milestone, a mandatory starting point for all types of discovery work. And then the rest is more like a flexible pathway. So our job here is to equip you with the tools, different tools and techniques that you'll be able to reuse in your context. So depending on your case, you might need to explore and extract opportunities a bit more. So in that case, in week 3, we look at one of the most powerful techniques to do that, which is to interview users. In other cases, you might go straight to solution discovery, or you might have a clear opportunity you want to solve for. So week 4 is here for that. We look at techniques to frame ideation or review existing solution ideas, again, with experts internally. So again, it's all about creating alignment, making sure that everyone is progressing, moving forward with clarity and confidence. We look at some rapid testing techniques and concept testing techniques that you'll be able to devise and set up on your own. And then finally, whatever the type of discovery you run, whatever the additional evidence that you collected, you're ready for prioritization and decision making. And that's how we close the program on week 5. Again, we look at different frameworks and techniques to pitch your decisions back to your stakeholders and leadership, and most importantly, to justify the why behind your decisions based on evidence and not intuition. So this whole 5-week program is giving you a pathway that can adapt to your context and lead you step by step, week by week, until stronger, more confident decision making. And now Brian will take you through the details of each week. Or before that, maybe let me say a few words about the typical weekly schedule. So what Brian will demo just after that is the online content available on the Panash e-learning platform. What I want to say is this program is a 5-week part-time cohort-based program. So what that means is that you'll be following a week-by-week schedule with a cohort of peers, and each week looks the same. It follows the same rhythm that you can see on this page. So it always starts with async e-learning on the platform that you can consume on your own time, because we know that product people are busy folks. And as a rough estimation, this program is designed for busy schedules, so it shouldn't require more than 3 hours of your time per week. So after digesting the online content on Mondays and Tuesdays, every Wednesday you'll attend a live session led by Brian and ourselves to put knowledge to practice. So through guided activities or case studies from real life context. So it's 1 hour and a half of very dynamic, fast-paced, practical learning. And usually that's the part that our learners love the best, because this is where you ground the discovery methods and techniques into reality, right? And when you leave the room, you should be much clearer on how this applies to your job. And then Thursdays are dedicated to assignments. So in small groups, throughout the program, you'll have the opportunity to work on a fictional case study and lead your own discovery activities from end to end. So you leave with the whole flow, and you'll have applied the whole flow to a real case study. So you'll work on the assignment in groups and receive feedback from Brian and us to improve. So that's it. That's what a typical week looks like. And now over to Brian, who will give you more details about the online content.
Okay. Thanks, Celine. So
to do that, we'll switch to the e-learning platform so you can have a glimpse as well.
Sure. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just walk through what that actually looks like. And so what I'm going to do is just show you all what the actual e-learning platform looks like, and then what kind of content you're going to find inside of it. And we'll just go through it sequentially. So as Celine was mentioning, like, it's really critical that we both give you the tools and frameworks and theory, and then work through that in the live sessions where we can actually work through how to apply that in our own contexts. So I'm going to start at the beginning at week 1, right? And so in week 1, what we're going to do is we're going to go over, like, what is discovery and why it matters, and then the sort of 2 key altitudes of discovery. One being opportunity, or what many people may call problem discovery, and the other is solution discovery. And those map back to the curriculum that Celine just mentioned and are covered more in depth in further weeks. Then we're going to go through, like, the criticality of connecting discovery to delivery, and how important it is that that's not set up as things that are separate from each other, particularly for the success of discovery and a new discovery practice. And then we're going to work through, where does discovery fit into an organization? Because one of the most important things is really, we wanted to create a program that many different types of teams and organizations can use. And so we want to basically set everyone up to be able to start implementing discovery where it's needed in their own contexts. And we're going to go through sort of the outcomes over outputs framework. And that's a really critical sort of foundation for the outcomes section in week 2. And then we're going to demo the Teresa Torres's opportunity solution tree, which is a framework that we're going to be using throughout. If anyone has read Continuous Discovery Habits or is familiar with that, we'll go more into depth. And then we're going to go through how to start and where to start using discovery within each of our own organizations. And we're going to be giving everyone this content toolbox, which is choose your own discovery adventure. So the real key outcome of week 1 is giving everybody a tool, a concrete tool that you can use to start to identify and establish where discovery needs to go or should fit at the current moment inside of your own organization. right? And so then we have like a series of other things that are each week, like around quizzes and debriefs and things that fit into the rest of the content. But I'm going to move on to week 2. So once you move through week 1 and you've gone through that tool of where does discovery fit, choosing your own adventure of where it would be actually implemented, we're going to go into framing outcomes. And so the key things we're going to be touching on is why framing is important, an introduction to how to approach discovery framing, and then going through how we start with outcomes, define an audience, and then go through the steps of reviewing existing work and risk and confidence. And really that's about understanding the scope of discovery, the need for discovery, and really getting more granular with where it could go. And we're going to leave everybody with this discovery framing tool. And so what that looks like, if we click into it, I'll give you like an example here. We basically put together a tool based on things that I've implemented in the past and things that have been utilized by the folks here at Panash to help you to frame your discovery. And so basically these tools come with best practices and then actionable toolkits, right? And then those will then fit into the work that you're going to do, and you're going to apply them and use them. And then these are things you can adapt and use inside of your own contexts, right? And so we kind of go through defining profiles, highlighting what we need to learn, defining and selecting discovery activities, and mapping those effectively, and then connecting those back to an opportunity solution tree. So that's an example of what the tools, the actionable tools that we're going to be delivering each week are. And then we're also going to be doing case studies, like how these were actually implemented in various contexts. For week 3, so week 3, once we've gotten through kind of like where does discovery fit in the organization, how do we sort of frame those outcomes that and frame our discovery needs, we're going to be giving you kind of these actionable tools and skills to start to extract opportunities, right? And as Celine said, we're going to be starting with customer interviews in this context, which is one of the best tools that people can use to start to generate the problems and opportunities that we have to solve, and that feed into that level and altitude of discovery. And so even though we're choosing our own adventure, we want to make sure that we all learn the tools at each level so that we can implement it now and in the future. So even if you start with solution discovery today, in the future, you have the skills and tools you need to do opportunity discovery. So if we click into here, it's a very actionable section focused on actually how do we take insights and gain insights from our users. And so it's when do we and how to interview users, from objectives to interview questions. How do we collect valuable stories? How do we actually do interviews? So actually like giving you the skills to conduct these and extract insights, taking notes, interview debriefs. And then one of the tools that we're going to be giving you here is an interview snapshot, which has been something that previous cohorts of learners have really loved and resonated with. And so also teaching about how to take observations to insights via affinity mapping, and then reframing opportunities to make sure that they're really specific and customer centric. And so in this one, the tool we'll be giving you is an interview snapshot, which you can use to sort of put together observations and start to extract out those opportunities that we can solve for using solution discovery. And so in week 4, we're going to be diving into solutions, as Celine mentioned. And so we're going to start with how do you actually generate new solution ideas? So if you have a problem or opportunity, sort of how do you actually start to create solutions that solve for those? And then moving from those ideas to experiments. How do we design experiments to test these? And we're going to have a strong focus on concept testing. And what's really exciting is we're actually going to be able to leverage a partner of ours, Maze, who will be able to provide the ability to kind of use their platform to actually see what it looks like to run quick concept testing and research on a solution and take that data and use that data to inform decision making. And so we'll go through an overview of concept testing techniques, and then we'll go through how do you actually take that data, collect it, analyze it, and use that to inform decisions. And in this section, what we'll have is the concept testing plan, and then we'll have that actionable set of work around actually what is it like to run a test and learn from a test, and how quickly we can actually start to develop an evidence-based insight based on what our customers actually need and how fast discovery can really be. Going back to that, it's hard to find time. One of the things that we want to speak to is like there are quick ways that you can start to implement discovery and build that practice using rapid experimentation and customer validation. And then finally, all of that is building up to week 5, prioritization. And prioritization is really about taking the data, all of the things that have been put together, and how do we start to apply that to the decisions that we're making on an everyday basis, and how do we surface that up to leadership in a way that influences the right level of decision making there, while also showing the value of doing discovery and creating more space to do it in the future. And so this section is really about how do we take these different tools, the different tools we've been given, and how do we start to apply this in our own context and start to show the value and drive decision making that actually lets us build better solutions and actually get us closer to kind of building the products customers love in a way that's demonstrable with evidence and gets buy-in from leadership to continue to do it, and pairs kind of discovery with delivery, right, where you're having that balance. And so we're going to focus on prioritizing delivery based on evidence, and then moving from that tool I mentioned before, the opportunity solution tree, to roadmaps. How do we take all of this and start to put that into a roadmap? And how does the work that we do here start to filter into the tools and processes that our organizations use? It could move into Confluence. It could move into Jira. It doesn't really matter where they go. And so what we want to make sure is that we're setting up so that the outcomes of all of the work that we've done up until now influence those decisions and flow back into your organizations in a way that makes sense inside of your context. And then we'll be going through reassessing solutions, opportunities, and outcomes based on evidence. How do we start to influence those decisions? How do we take this evidence and start to shape what we do? And then the sort of like promised land onto kind of continuous discovery, right? Discovery isn't a thing that we do in a static place. It's a thing, is a mindset and a process and a way of working and a way of being that we continue on and do in the future. And so at the end of all of this, you'll have the sort of tools to say, okay, does this need discovery? Maybe it doesn't. A lot of the time, things don't need discovery. If it does need discovery, what level of discovery do we need? And then the tools to say, okay, based on that, I can actually begin discovery in a light way where we can start to get feedback from our customers and inform what we're doing quickly. And so we can sort of avoid those key pitfalls that we saw from before. And so that is a walkthrough of the program. Obviously, there's a lot more here, but I want to give it back to Celine to kind of go through the next steps, and then we'll get you all to the Q&A at the end. We can ask us questions.
Thank you, Brian. That was brilliant. So I hope you guys in the audience are teased or intrigued at least. If you have any question, now is the time. Please share in the chat and we'll take them at the end of the session. But yes, before we open to Q&As, let me just conclude with a few more words on what's included in the program and what you live with when you attend the program. So let me switch back. Here we are. Yes. So with your seat, with your membership, what is included is your whole end-to-end discovery playbook. So you saw a brief, you had a brief flavor of it through the flow that Brian showed you, but it doesn't end there. So every module, every week, every activity will be showcased and recapped in this playbook that you'll have access to. So it's a whole flow of activities that you'll be able to replicate by yourself. So guided step by step with tips and instructions for each. You'll also leave, of course, with the whole gallery of tools and templates to reuse in your context. And also, nice cherry on the cake, you'll have access to the amazing Panash community. So you'll be able to continuously learn from other alumni and network with them. You'll also have access throughout the year to exclusive talks and events. We often have guest speakers coming in. And last but not least, with your seat comes a 1-year access to updates, not only to this discovery program, but also any new content that we roll out as part of the other programs I've mentioned at the beginning during 1 year. So that's what's included. And then finally, yeah, we've been training. We have trained at this point more than 100 Panash alumni. So that's a really great milestone and achievement that we're quite proud of, and a nice way to wrap up the year just before Christmas. And we've been receiving amazing response and feedback You can see an extract on this page. We also continuously learning and hearing constructive feedback to improve the program. So just wanted to say we can't wait to have you join us and join this amazing learning community. So thank you all for joining today. And I'm curious to see if we have any questions from the chat. Clément?
Not yet, guys. Do not hesitate. If you have any questions, you can just write us in the comment section, and we'll answer them.
Yeah,
You'll
and you
have
just
more
comment
details.
through LinkedIn, and then we'll see them appear here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm assuming that people are working on like very difficult questions. I just have to get it like framed just right to make it hard on everybody.
Yeah, anything, please jump in. It could be about the format or the past cohorts. Feel free. There's no silly question. And of course, you'll find more info, including pricing and the next open dates on the Panash website, if you're curious.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that maybe isn't like highlighted here is that because it is a cohort-based program, like you're going through this with a group of fellow learners, all from different companies and different levels that are either looking to implement discovery or to start doing discovery for the first time. And so I think that that's a really cool part of that. And there's a Slack channel, and really work hard to kind of connect people with each other, as well as kind of going through this. So everyone's kind of going through this journey of discovery together. And then what's cool is you're kind of, each person or team is implementing it or working on it or thinking about it through the lens of their own company and organization, which is a lot of fun. And I think something that I personally get a lot of value out of, because discovery can be so different in different teams and different companies, even though the kind of goals that we all have are similar. And it's so interesting to sort of learn from each other about what's worked, what hasn't worked, and how to actually apply this in real life.
That's so true. And that's often something that learners tell us afterwards, like that's one of the hidden joys of attending a program. They realize the value of being in the same room, virtual, even with other peers sharing and facing the same challenges in different contexts, and how they did things and what they tried and the mistakes that they did in the past, so that they can learn from each other. That's really powerful.
Yeah. Let me add a couple of things. If you want some more information about the program, you can go to our website, so www.panash.io. If you're interested, you can either apply or book a call with one of us, and we'll talk about the program. One thing that is interesting for French companies, you can also get this program partially or fully funded by your OPCO. It's always nice to know. The upcoming cohort starts on the 23rd of January. That's right, Celine, Brian,
Yep.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah, okay.
Correct.
And I think there's still about 8 seats left. Oh, here you go. Here's the link down below to discover more about the program.
Yeah, and if you have like feedback about the StreamYard experience, let me know. Send it to me. I'm always interested. Can't help myself.
I'm sure they will do. Well, okay. If there's no question, then I hope you guys found this reveal interesting, and will be available.
Yeah, reach out with any questions at all, and it's been great connecting with everybody. And I guess Orlando's maybe sunnier than Alicante, so maybe that takes the sunniest location dialing in, so at least that I can see on here.
Would be nice. Doesn't sound too bad neither.
All right, and yeah, hope everyone has a great vacation, holiday if you're heading off somewhere. And yeah, please feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. Send questions later. We're available.
And enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.